Boys and girls, students of Buddhist Sunday School, parents and grandparents, teachers of Buddhist Sunday School and Dhamma classes. May you all be well and peaceful. We are going to have a lesson involving a children's story that has good morals. From the children's story, we can learn very important life lessons, moral lessons, and also good Dhamma. And as usual, we will have a PowerPoint presentation based on the story entitled Kroaker the Bullfrog. I will go over the story and explain to you. And the most important slide is the last one, where we learn good moral lessons and Dhamma, right? So as usual, we will launch a PowerPoint. But before that, I think there is no need for my photo to appear. So let's stop the video. Okay, so now let's launch the PowerPoint. Right, the slideshow. So you see the cover slide or the title slide, Kroaker the Bullfrog. Now, Kroaker is probably the name of this frog. Now, this is a type of frog. It's very large. It is known as the bullfrog, and it is found usually in North America and then Canada. It is very large in size, and it eats quite similar things like the usual frogs, small insects, worms, right? And those things that the frog can find around the area that it lives, in the pond area, or maybe near the river. So that's this bullfrog, very large. You can see the picture afterwards. Now, of course, here is just some animation because this story involves this frog, Kroaker, the name. Probably has a connection with the word croaking. A frog croaks, isn't it? Because you hear the sound made by a bullfrog, right? You hear it actually, the actual sound. And then also it involves two fish that live in the river. So these are the three main characters. So let us now look at the next slide. You can hear the sound, right? That actually is the sound made by a bullfrog. So you get an idea, quite similar to the usual croaking sound of the usual frogs, which are smaller in size. So let us go to the story, and we can learn many important things. Now, not long ago, in a crystal clear river near a small town, lived two very big fish. In fact, they were so big that they were not afraid of anything. They swam anywhere they wanted. Now look at the term crystal clear. Wow, when water is crystal clear, it is not muddy, and it is like transparent, or you can say translucent. You can see right through, as if you go to some of the islands, maybe Pulau Redang or things like that. All right, people go, what they call it, scuba diving. You find the water very, very clear. You can see virtually the bottom of the sea or the ocean. So that was this type of river, unpolluted. The water so fresh, clear, transparent, and there were these two big fish, very big fish. They were so big, so probably they were a bit proud of themselves because they were not afraid of anything, and they could swim anywhere they wanted because they thought they were very, very big, so no need to be afraid. They tangled the lines of children fishing in their river. Now, of course, you have some of the houses near the river, so some children go fishing. Now, you see later on at the last slide that fishing is not a good hobby in terms of Buddhism lah, because you cause suffering to the fish. We'll explain later on lah. But anyway, there were these children that would use their fishing lines. You can see the fishing line, the fishing rod, and then the line at the end, they put a bait lah. And this bait, you know, you could put maybe worms, right? Or maybe fish food or sausage. So, but then these big fish, these two big fishes were not afraid at all. Because these children, you know, they maybe didn't have very good fishing lines. So what the fish would do would be to twist the lines. Tangle means to sort of play with the fishing lines and get them twisted lah, so they could not, you know, catch any fish. And these fish, whenever they were hungry, they will probably eat the smaller fish or other small creatures there when they were angry. And, you know, because they were so big, and as they swam, they would splash the water, you know, on anyone sitting along the bank. This is the bank of the river, right? So they were like brave rulers lah. So maybe they thought very highly of themselves because they were very big and they were brave. So they were like the kings of the crystal clear river, right? You see something is going to happen. Now this is what I put actually. These are the pages from the storybook, but this I put the animated dog lah. You know, just to keep you awake. This cute dog wears sunglasses on. Cute, isn't it? Okay, so you understand, right? One day, a large bullfrog and his family moved into the area. The bullfrog saw the two big brave fish in the crystal clear river and wanted to talk to them, but he was afraid. So this large bullfrog with the family, maybe the wife and 2 or 3 baby frogs, they moved into this area, this area where there was this crystal clear river, then the river bank and some houses. You know, frogs, they can go in the waters, but they can also live in the land, in the banks of the rivers or near ponds and so on, you know, or grassy area also, you can find these frogs, you see. So they moved to this area where the two big brave fish lived in the crystal clear water. So this bullfrog was thinking of making friends with the two big fish, but he was quite afraid to talk to them, because they were very, very big, and he was afraid that these fish could also swallow the frog or something like that. So he was hesitant. So let us see what happens. He didn't know a lot about the crystal clear river or the big brave fish that lived there, and was afraid of being eaten, as you say, because it was a new environment, a new place that he and his family had moved into. So not very familiar with the river, and also didn't know about the behavior of these two big brave fish. So of course, naturally, Kroaker, the bullfrog, was afraid of being eaten, right? Actually, frogs can go into the river to swim also, isn't it? But he was hesitant, he was thinking first, you see, very cautious. So for a long time, he did not just plunge into the river. For a long time, he watched the big brave fish. Then he studied the crystal clear river to see whether there would be any other types of danger. And then he also looked around to make sure everything was safe all around him, right? There would not be big animals that would feed on frogs, like say maybe snakes or some other mammals. So he's a very, very cautious frog. So he was very smart, and he used his common sense to guide him. To decide what to do, he had to think, use the common sense after having studied the environment. Then one day, he found that it was quite okay already. Then he decided, with a mighty hop, because he was a bullfrog, he could hop very far, can be maybe a few meters, they can hop very high up and far away also, maybe 1 or 2 meters or 3 meters even. So he jumped into the crystal clear river to meet with the 2 big brave fish to introduce himself. So let us see what happens. I'm Kroaker, the biggest and smartest bullfrog in the world, he said. Is that so? Replied one of the fish. We are the biggest and bravest fish in the crystal clear river. The other fish looked at Kroaker and said, well, if you are nice, we may let you share our water in this crystal clear river. So, you can see the 2 big fish. So the 3 of them talk. And then over time, they make friends. So the 2 big brave fish and Kroaker, the bullfrog, became friends. Quite good friends, you could say, all right? So every day, the 3 of them would meet at the same spot in the crystal clear river to eat, talk, and play. Now, the fish could not go onto the bank, onto the land to meet with the frog, isn't it? But as I told you, the frog amphibian could live in the water, or could be in the water swimming, as well as to be on land, isn't it? So, of course, the frog would hop into the crystal clear water and then would chat, would eat, and then play. So they were good friends. But something would happen now. What is going to happen? That's the excitement. So you must pay good attention, and then you can learn a lot of things. Wow. Late one evening, as the 3 were talking in the river, 2 fishermen passed by. You could see the 2 fishermen picture. And Kroaker, the bullfrog, saw them. And common sense told him to hop into the water and hide under the bank, because he was afraid that these 2 fishermen could catch the frog. And then also, frogs can be eaten also, or he could maybe kill the frog and then use the meat as bait for the fishing, you see. So he was very, very cautious. So when he saw them, so his carefulness, mindfulness, hipfulness, so he hopped under the water and he went to hide under the bank of the river, So the fisherman, the 2 fishermen, out to fish, they could not see him. But these 2 big brave fish, they were not afraid, right? Maybe they were quite foolish, you could see later on. They thought that they were so big, right? Different, So the 2 big fish slowly swam in circles. They were in the water, just maybe below the surface of the water. The water was very, very clear. So the fisherman could see there were these 2 fish. Probably these 2 big fish wanted to show off, to boast, right? Unlike the frog that was cautious and wise also. So the fisherman saw, wow, how big these 2 fish were. So what is going to happen next? Now we come to this. One of the fishermen saw the fish, the 2 fishes, right? There you could see that, right? And then it said, wow, this crystal clear river has some really big fish. Let's come back tomorrow morning and catch them. So, as the fishermen turned and walked away, they discussed what type of bait might work best to catch big, brave fish. Now, you know what is a bait? Bait would be the food, the anglers or people who go fishing or fishermen use in their nets, or maybe in this case here, in their fishing rods at the end of the fishing line, they put that food to lure or tempt the fish. So this fish would come and eat the food at the hook there, isn't it? And then they will be caught. When the hook will hook onto their mouth and their throats, and then they will be caught. That's how our fishing works. That's why the Buddhists don't usually fish. We don't encourage to take this hobby because it causes pain to the fish, right or not? If people were to fish for you, how would you feel? The hooks go into your mouth or your jaws and things like that. But anyway, this story is to illustrate certain things. In the world, of course, there will be people who fish. So they were arguing which bait should be best to catch these two big, brave fish. One of the fishermen said, worms, use worms. And the other said, no, sausages will be better, said the other. And they continue to discuss. They continue the discussion as they walk the twisted path, right? So there was this twisted, you can say small road or a path, right? Not straight, winding along the river's edge. They wanted to go home and to come the next day, isn't it? But these two fish, right? Really foolish. They didn't know the danger impending, the danger coming, right? So they thought they were so big, the rulers in the crystal clear river. So let us move on to see what happens. So Kroaker was hiding beneath the river bank. Of course, he overheard what the fisherman said about coming back to fish, to catch the two big fish. They were discussing the type of bait, the type of food that they are going to put at the end of their fishing lines. So the two big brave fish also overheard what the fisherman said, but they were not afraid at all, So this Kroaker the Bullfrog told the two fish who are now his good friends, isn't it? Say, my friends, did you hear what they said? You should swim away and hide. I'm afraid they may catch and eat me. So I will take my family to a nearby pond to be safe. So he decided to take the family staying nearby this river. You see there's a nearby pond, right? So there will be safer because the fisherman would not go there to fish. Whereas here, right? So if the fisherman were to see him, I told you frogs can be eaten, they might also catch him and kill him. So he said, hey, better. So he asked his friends also, you all should be careful. Go and hide somewhere. Swim away. What did these two so-called brave big fish say? The two big brave fish bubble out laughs. Now bubble, like soap bubbles, which means that they laugh and then create the bubbles, right? They laugh at this frog as they jump in and out of the water, jump in and out of the water. And then one of the fishes said, you could use plural fish or fishes. One said, my dear bullfrog friend, don't be frightened of their mere talk. They just talk and talk only, these two fishermen. We are so big. How are they going to catch us, right? So they were not the least scared, right? So Kroaker looked at the two brave fish and he advised them to move, to swim away. And he used this very good advice, saying, I would rather be safe than sorry. Now, to be safe than sorry is a very important English expression. It actually, like for example, you hear people say, it's better to be safe than sorry. That means it's wiser to be cautious and careful than to be rash, to be reckless, hasty, foolish, and do something that is dangerous, you will regret later. That is the meaning of this. Better to be safe than sorry to regret later on. An example like this. Suppose I say you are not well, and then you maybe have a cough or fever, and you want to go out to play football. There is a rain. Your mother tells you, oh, you better don't go. It's not safe. You may get the cold, and you may get cough, pneumonia, and so on. Then you say that, now I have a very strong body system, immunity, I can tahan, I can go, I won't get sick. That is being foolish. So your mother says, it's better to be safe than sorry, right? You go out and play, and then something happens, you come back, and then you regret later on, isn't it? That is the meaning of it's better to be safe than sorry. I just give you one example, many examples. People, especially young ones, they don't think, they do foolish things and then regret later on, right? So safety is very, very important. Just as now, you have this COVID-19, you have to put mask when you go out. So some fellas say, now I've got the vaccination already, I won't get it already. But the people who get vaccinated already can still get infected, right? So it's wise to put on the mask when you go out. So it's better to be safe than sorry. Then later on, you won't regret in case you get infected, isn't it? But there's another current example. Now, so this frog, the bullfrog say, from what I heard, they might come back, So I will live with my family to the safety of the pond. So Kroaker decided to leave that area, the area around the river, to go to the pond, which was a distance away, right? Where he could stay there with the family. Right? So Kroaker left, and the two big brave fish swam to the bottom of the crystal clear water. And now the fishermen are around it, so they swam to the bottom. Right? So you see, I put some animated grass along the river bank there. Now let's see what happens. Next morning, just after sunrise, quite early morning after sunrise, I could see already. The two fishermen returned to the crystal clear river, where the day before they had seen the two big brave fish, and they were all well prepared with their fishing rods, with their baits, because they wanted to catch the two big brave fish. They walked slowly and quietly so as not to disturb them. Right? They didn't want the fish to know that they are already there, because they're going to throw their fishing lines with the bait to trap the fish. When the fish eat the bait, maybe sausage or worms or whatever, right? Look, whispered one of the fishermen. There they are. He could spot the fish far away already, coming up from the bottom of the river already. So what did they do? So of course, if you know or you have seen people fishing, so the fishermen gently cast their bait. That means they cast their fishing lines with the bait at the end of the fishing line. Could be worms, could be sausage, or it could be fish food or any other attractive food. It was to attract the big brave fish. And true enough, fish are not so intelligent as us, you see. They see the food, wow, so good food. They didn't know it was a very dangerous trap, right? So it worked. So in moments only, very fast, right? Each had hooked one of the big brave fish. Now you could see the picture there. So this fish, right? Because attracted by the bait, so went to that bait and to bite it. And of course, the hook is mouth already, trapped already. And the other one, the same thing. So each of the two fishermen had trapped one fish, each of them one. So what will happen now? Can the fish succeed? They think they are very big. So then the battle between the fisherman and the fish began. So, when you fish, they have certain art. You have to sort of recoil the line and then to bring the fish up. Quite big and heavy. But this two fishermen, they were experienced also. So wow, maybe now only the two big fish, the two big brave fish began to panic already lah. Wow, so they knew they couldn't move out of the bait already, you know. So what did they do? Wow, the big brave fish used all their tricks to free themselves. They dive deep inside and then they swam very fast. They hop up or leap up from the water and then they would thrash their tail to move their tail very, very aggressively, violently. You could see some fish, wow, just swinging their tails to and fro, and also the head also start, they try all sorts of ways. Why? In an attempt to get free, right? So this battle between the two fishermen and the two fish raged on. He went on in a quite aggressive, violent manner for over 10 minutes, you know. But then, you know, somehow other man definitely more clever, smarter than the animals. So what happened? The two big brave fish were no match for the fishermen. The fishermen, each of them got one. So they were caught, right? Could not escape already. That's how people fish. And the poor fish suffer. That's why we don't encourage. But anyway, this story tells about this stupidity of these two fish also, right? Okay, so now let's see what happens. Wow. All the while, you know, this bullfrog, Kroaker the bullfrog, was hiding, you know, behind some tall grass. You know. So Kroaker watched from the safety of the tall grass. He saw all that happened, you know. So this tall grass separated the pond from the bank of the crystal clear river. So you could imagine the pond were further away, and then between the pond and the river bank, the fishermen were at the river bank fishing, isn't it? So between the pond and the river bank, a very, very tall grass, like lalang, something like that. So the frog actually was hiding there to watch. Of course, he wouldn't want the fisherman to see him, isn't it? Because he might be caught and then also could be eaten. Wow, he saw you, the two, then of course the fish will pull out from the river. Wow, two big fish. So this Kroaker, the bullfrog, was sad. The two friends were caught already. Now you could see, right? Oh, the anglers will be referring to the people that do the fishing. Anglers are people who go fishing. So they're very excited. Wow, each had caught a big, brave fish. On their first cast of the day, early morning, they started to fish. Each of them got one big one. Wow, they were so excited. They say, what a story they had to tell when they returned home, to tell their friends, to tell their families, how they caught these two big fish after maybe 10 minutes or so. It was very heavy, right? I put this cartoon just to see the cartoon now. Was crying, the face say, your poor fish, the two fish suffer all the pain because of the hooks, and now they will be killed and made into fish curry or fried fish and so on, could no longer live happily in the crystal clear water. So you see, quite sad as far as the animals are concerned. So in Dharma teaching, you see later on, we don't encourage, we ask people not to take up fishing as a hobby. I will comment more on this later on. Okay, so what did Kroaker do now? So Kroaker having seen all this and then, you know, hearing what the fishermen saying in their excitement, so he carefully hopped back to the pond where his family members were and told his family what he had seen. He said, both my big, brave fish friends were very talented, right? They were smart, could talk well, could swim, everything, but still they were caught. And I think you know the reason. Right? They maybe were too proud, did not use their common sense, and so on. We learned that in the section on moral lessons to learn. But Then Kroaker told the family, but I, with only common sense, save my family. Of course, if he and the family were around the river area, they also might be caught, and then they also could be killed, and then they could be cooked and served as food, because frogs can be eaten, right? Toads you don't normally eat, right? The frogs could be eaten. So they say, yeah, I will miss my two good friends, right? So then I come to the end of the story. So the Kroaker advised his family, we have to learn a lesson from this story. Not from this story, or his case, we have to learn a lesson from this episode, this happening, said Kroaker to his family. See, whenever we see the first sign of danger, we have to really think clearly, use our common sense, and act based on our thinking and common sense to save ourselves. If we don't think like this, then we may be killed, right? Or may suffer torture or some other terrible things. So that is the end of the story of Kroaker the Bullfrog. Now, it's a simple story, but it has very, very good moral lessons we can think about. So we are going now to the most important slide where you are going to learn some Dhamma as well as moral lessons. So now, slide, moral lessons to learn. Or you can say life lessons. Stories can teach us beautiful life lessons, right? So let us now go over this. Now you can see a background. I put a washout so that it's not, sort of blocking all those words I'm going to show, right? It's actually showing the background of the ocean bed, beautiful picture where you have beautiful fishes, corals, and all those that live at the base of the ocean or the sea. Some people like to go scuba diving or snorkeling, and they can see the beautiful sights at the base of the sea and ocean. But of course, you must be good swimmers and so on, and must learn all this. So you see the colorful fish, all right? So let's look at the first one. Do not be proud or arrogant. That is very true. Actually, you see that these two big fish, they actually have self-pride, quite sombong, arrogant. They think that, hey, why worry? We are so big. We are the rulers of this crystal clear river. Nobody can really conquer us. They are not even afraid of the boys trying to fish. And then, of course, small boys that don't have the art, they can't even leave it properly, the fishing line. So, there is an English proverb that says, pride goes before a fall, right? If you are very, very proud and then you do foolish things out of your pride without good thinking, you can fall. You get into trouble and you suffer. So this is a very important lesson. Now, arrogance is also related to pride, right? Arrogant, you think very highly of yourself, and some arrogant people are also very boastful, right? They like to boast, talk big, exaggerate. These are not good traits. The good thing to practice is humility, to be humble. And if you are humble, then people actually will like you. And people like to teach you. You are more ready to learn. Whereas a person that is proud, he thinks that he knows a lot already. He's not so keen to listen to the teachers or to older, wise people. So they cannot learn and they'll get into trouble, right? So that's the first important moral lesson. Let's look at this next one. Do not act foolishly without thinking. That is illustrated in the story, right? Just do not think that now you have the danger of the fishing rod and the bait, and these fishermen, they are adults already, not little boys already. So, just tempted by the bait, maybe the sausage or the worms. So you find that many of the people, young and old included, particularly maybe the teenagers, like secondary school students, example I've given before, they might repeat. They think it's a lot of fun and excitement to do racing past midnight in their scramblers or all those big motorbikes racing, never think, right? Do foolish things. Of course, some have got killed or have injured their bodily parts. Some have got their legs amputated, right? So terrible. So remember, before we speak, before we act, we must always think clearly. Will this thing harm me also, or harm other people or other animals? If that is so, then I would not do it. It will be foolish. You cause suffering to yourself, to your family members, to also other people. And that is actually bad karma, actually. You do something unwholesome, causing harm and hurt to other people. So that is the second important moral lesson, which is also Dharma, isn't it? Then we have this one, right? Follow wise advice. Now, you see, like these two big fish, right? They did not want to follow the advice, right, of the bullfrog, isn't it? The bullfrog advised them to swim and hide away, but they no, why are you so scared, right? They laugh at the frog also, but the frog was a wise one and moved his family away to the pond, isn't it? So likewise also, as students, you have your teachers, or you have your parents, or your grandparents, or monks, or your teachers in the Sunday school. So they are adults with more experience, so they advise you certain things, right? So if you are good students, right, then you will try to heed the advice so that you won't get into trouble or danger. But many nowadays don't want to, right? So there's a kind of a sad thing. So follow wise advice. Now this one is not working, so I have to move on later on, right? We go to the Dharma teaching first, right? So here it says that do not have work or hobbies that harm other living beings. This is in the teaching of Dhamma. So whatever work we do or whatever hobbies that we take on, make sure that they don't harm other beings, other living things. Now, work, like for example, there are certain types of livelihood which are considered wrong livelihood. Like for example, slaughtering animals to sell their meat, or making weapons, poisons, right? Or buying people and selling them, or even selling or distributing all the liquor and the drugs. All these are types of work we should not do, right? Because they cause harm. Right, so that is and then as far as hobbies are concerned, there are so many hobbies which are okay, which are good. Among the hobbies that we say are not wholesome, not good, will be like fishing, because you're causing hurt to the fishes, right? Or you can actually rear fish, no problem, right? Let's say you are very interested in fish, and then you bring the fish home, and then you catch by using nets, right? Not the hooks. And then after that, you have an aquarium, you take good care of them, that is okay. But this one is fishing, some of them for fun, right? Imagine the hooks on the fish. I don't know, I never do all this using hooks to cause pain to another creature. I don't do that. And you have so many other hobbies, reading, music, playing all the sports, and then even sometimes I watch good movies. So many good hobbies. Gardening. or learning a language. So many good things, hobbies. Why must you go and do some adults? Their hobby is hunting, So they go to the jungle and hunt for the wild boars, the squirrels, or maybe the, I don't know, maybe monkeys also, or some all types of animals. So imagine if you were hunted, so if, for example, you hunt and then catch the mother wild pig, then the baby pigs all will be crying and will be really suffering, isn't it? Imagine you chase and then use a gun and everything, and then sometimes this is considered not a good livelihood, killing. So there were cases where two friends they went hunting, So they wanted to hunt for the wild boars. So one was using the gun to shoot. And then I don't know, something happened. He thought that his friend at a distance away was a wild boar, and he shot the friend, and the friend died. This is the result of karma, immediate, right? So never do that. Now I'm afraid you see this one doesn't seem to work, right? So now mind, right? So I will go to the last slide, right? Then you can see what is the last one. You can see here it's okay, right? So here, the one that couldn't come out due to some technical error is be mindful and heedful of impending danger. Because you could see the thing, isn't it? Now, of course, if you want to see the whole thing, you can also, right? But I think it's okay now. You can see this one here already. Now, being mindful, that means to be aware, to be attentive, right? To be alert in your mind. Especially now, you see the story tells you that Kroaker, the bulldog, was very alert, isn't it? So he would study the environment. It's a new place. So he would study more about the river and then about the fish. Probably they will welcome him, right? So he was wiser. He was mindful of things. The opposite will be mindless, careless, and then reckless. So you get in trouble. Then the word heedful means to be very, very cautious, to be very, very careful, to be alert as to what can happen. Impending danger means danger that can come, already. Right? So you find that the two fish never thought about this, not mindful. Impending danger, the two fishermen returning to fish. That will be the danger. Whereas the frog was smart, was wise. He knew he and his family could be in danger, also impending danger. So they moved away to the pond. So you see, this is a very important Dharma point to practice any impending danger. So many accidents and then wrong things that people do can be due to lack of mindfulness. This also connected with your forgetfulness. You forget to follow the wise things that you have been taught, isn't it? So when you are very forgetful, don't remember all those things, the good things that you have been taught for you to follow for your own good, you forget. So in time to come, you become a very forgetful person, a very careless person, a very heedless person, and you are going to bring pain, suffering to yourself and to other people. Like, for example, if something happens to you, definitely your family members will suffer. Your mother, your father will be really sad, right? They will be sorrowful because of something happening to you. You're so very careless riding a motorbike, speeding and so on. And then imagine, let's say you're in Pompola. Of course, if you're in primary, you don't ride motorbike. But then this happened actually. I've seen cases like that. Speeding, student speeding until accident happens, not mindful, not careful of impending danger, accident happens, and then the leg was so bad already, the bone shattered and the injury. Got to amputate. Amputate means to cut off the leg. I remember one case when I went to see him, was crying. The leg got to be amputated. That is not being mindful and heedful, right? So from here, you see, I have put 4 things actually. All these 4 should come first, and the final one is the Dharma teaching. So I hope you have learned very good moral lessons, moral values, things that are wise, and also Dhamma, right? So you can share this with your friends, which is a very good thing, meritorious thing. Very easy, you just have to share the video on YouTube, and then they can learn about it and so on, even on SlideShare. Because on YouTube, you can hear the explanation as well as seeing it. That would be the best way. So before we say sadhu 3 times, right, I would like to thank all you students, boys and girls of the Buddhist Sunday School, or any student, all the students who may not be in the Sunday School, doesn't matter, but they may be following this. So I'd like to thank all these young ones for following this, for being patient, for taking the trouble, for putting the effort and energy to follow this presentation that has good moral values. And also I'd like to thank the parents and the grandparents who are actually teaching many young ones also. So I would like to say sadhu to them, right, to listen to this children's story, and also, of course, to the teachers of the Buddhist Sunday School or moral lessons. So let us conclude by saying sadhu 3 times. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. May you all be well, happy, and peaceful. May the Dhamma be with all of you always, right? Take care.